Voices for Justice and Dignity: The Lives and Times of Eleanor Roosevelt and Marian Anderson, by Kira Freed and Bea Silverberg. Introduction. The date was April 9th, 1939. World-renowned vocalist Marian Anderson sang to a crowd of more than 75,000 people at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The huge statue of Abraham Lincoln towered behind her. Her pure, rich voice rang out with these first words, "My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty." Anderson expressed the hopes of millions of Americans. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and others who stood for equal rights for all races made this historic concert possible. 3 years earlier, Marian Anderson had returned to the United States triumphant. She had performed in all of the capitals of Europe. Her manager wanted to schedule a Washington, D.C. concert for her. Constitution Hall was the only hall in the city that was big enough. But Constitution Hall was not available to African American artists. In the 1930s, many U.S. cities were segregated by race. Constitution Hall was owned by the Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR. When the DAR opened Constitution Hall in 1929, it could not enforce segregated seating when African American artists performed. To keep African American and white audiences from mingling, the DAR decided to allow only white artists to perform. In earlier years, Marian Anderson had given concerts in the chapel at Howard University. Howard was an African American institution in Washington, D.C. By 1936, though, her admirers had grown too numerous for the small space. When the DAR refused that year to rent the hall to Miss Anderson, Howard officials used a large auditorium at an African American high school. Her 1937 concert also took place at the high school. The next year, her concert took place at a theater in downtown Washington, D.C. The theater was not available in 1939. Howard officials again asked to use Constitution Hall. Again, they were told that African American artists could not perform there. This time, Howard University officials fought the ruling. Constitution Hall was the best place in the city for a performance by an artist of Miss Anderson's standing. The controversy that followed was an important event in the struggle to end racial discrimination in the United States. Newspaper articles condemned the DAR's policy. A group of powerful people in Washington who felt strongly about equal rights campaigned to encourage the public to speak out. Messages of protest poured into the DAR office. Still, the DAR's president would not change her mind. Officials at Howard University doubted that the protests would make a difference. They asked permission for Miss Anderson to perform at Central High School. This white school had one of the largest school auditoriums in the city, but members of the school board did not want to get involved in the controversy. They, too, refused to let Miss Anderson perform. The school board's decision made headlines in every newspaper in the city. Many more people spoke up in protest. Thousands of people signed petitions opposing the school board's decision. Urgent messages were sent to important people to raise support for an Anderson performance in Washington. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt received one of those messages. For years, she had spoken out in support of equal rights for all people. Now, she wanted to use her influence to support Miss Anderson and racial equality. And she wanted people to understand that this wasn't just about one concert. It was about taking a stand for equality and justice for all citizens. Mrs. Roosevelt, who was a longtime member of the DAR, resigned in protest. She could not be a member of a group that practiced racial discrimination. The day after she resigned, she expressed her views in her widely read newspaper column, My Day. Mrs. Roosevelt was strongly admired around the country. Her supporters were outraged by the DAR's policy. Meanwhile, Marian Anderson's manager, along with an African American leader.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?